Today being World Rabies Day, the day aims to raise awareness and advocate for global rabies elimination. According to the South African Veterinary Association, rabies is a zoonotic disease that can be transmitted from animals to humans and is usually transmitted through bites or saliva exposure from infected animals. Let's chat a bit about this now. We're joined on the line by a vet pathologist that's Dr. Didi Claassen, as joining us via Teams. Dr. Claassen, a very good morning to you. Thank you very much indeed for your time. I think a lot of information is out there about rabies, but how do we use a day like this as World Rabies Day, to address this issue, for example, of how you have the transmission of rabies from dogs to human beings?
Yeah, I think as people, we tend to forget things, and days like today just puts it at the front of mind again. So it's something that happens throughout the year, and I think people sort of get rabies fatigue. And with the news that keeps on happening this year, we had a different setting with the outbreak in the seal population, so it was hot on the press again. But I think days like today reminds people, sure, is my rabies vaccinations and my pets up to date? And it plays a pivotal role in keeping the disease front of mind, but not over-exhausting people with information throughout the year.
Yeah, but what is the current situation, pertaining to rabies? Do people still go out and, make sure that vaccination, does take place for their pets? Where are we in terms of people complying or wanting to make sure that they take care of some of those crucial aspects?
So it varies quite a bit, depending on if people know about the disease. What we saw in the Western Cape, because it was a disease that wasn't frequently seen, everyone was caught quite off guard with an outbreak we had 2 years ago. So there are areas that are completely under-vaccinated, whether it's because people don't realize it's important or they haven't been exposed to knowledge about it. And then there are areas like the eastern parts of the country where rabies is reported quite often. People tend to vaccinate more. But people forget. So it's important not to think that one vaccination in your pet is sufficient. You need to speak to your vet or your state veterinarian to make sure that your vaccination certificate is up to date. It's legislation, because we don't know when rabies from wildlife can spill over to our pets. So at this stage, I think there's still a lot more we can do. We've had 185 reported cases in animals this year to date, and 7 people have died. And I mean, it's 7 people that shouldn't have died. And those are only the people that we know of. I don't think everyone who dies of rabies get tested for rabies. So it's the tip of the iceberg. Someone said in South Africa, we don't understand icebergs, so they say it's the ears of the hippo. You see the little ears, but there's a massive problem under the water. So we need to be more vigilant and complacent. So vaccinate your dogs and cats and keep your family safe, regardless of where you're staying in South Africa.
Absolutely. And I mean, with over 100 cases, and you're saying 7 people have died, let's talk about this year's theme. How are we taking this conversation forward to ensure that, those who don't take it seriously actually do so?
Yeah, so the theme this year is breaking boundaries, which I love, because I think everyone works in their little silos. So the vets or the animal health sector focuses on the animals, and the human sector focuses on the human side, and environment focuses on the environmental side. But the idea is that we start working together, we break the boundaries that we have, we start thinking out of the box with regards to how to engage community. And I was at a One Health conference last week, and I actually attended a session presented by journalists, and it was amazing to see how the problem is scientists have all this data and we work in our respective fields, but we struggle to communicate these facts to people, and that's where journalism plays a massive role for us to get all these facts, like 185 animals. What does that mean? But it means that there are 5 people affected per dog or cat that was affected that could potentially get rabies. And it's something that we struggle to communicate. And it's important that we have sessions like this one with you today, where journalists bring the information out. So breaking boundaries, not just thinking, oh, it's a vet problem, but it's a human problem, and we need to work together.
Yeah. So just finally, I mean, how can individuals protect themselves? Of course, you would need to go and get, your cats and your dogs vaccinated. But how can we protect ourselves, as people?
So that's the main thing. It's actually very simple to control rabies. We need to vaccinate our dogs and cats. We don't have to go do weird and wonderful things. Make sure your own dogs and cats are vaccinated, that your neighbors know about the disease, that their animals are vaccinated. And if you see strange behaving animals, report it to the authorities immediately, whether it's state veterinary services or the medical profession or welfare organizations, that they can go and investigate, make sure that if it is rabies, and then they can control it within your community. And if you are exposed, so you said the biting and scratching and saliva contact, seek medical attention immediately. Don't wait. That's where we save lives, is by people vaccinating their dogs and cats and seeking medical attention immediately. Even if there's just a drop of blood, if it's penetrated the skin, it's penetrated the skin and you need medical assistance. It doesn't have to be a massive bite to give you rabies.
Absolutely important discussion. Thank you very much indeed. Of course, today being World Rabies Day, and hearing there, of course, that was it 7 people? Yeah, 7 people have so far died in South Africa as a result of rabies, and really urging you to go out and get your cats and your dogs vaccinated against rabies. Thank you very much indeed for that.